What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Oki for those who don't know me, and today I wanted to give you a little bit of a thank you. I feel like I've been very grateful lately, especially coming into the new year, thinking about all the progression, everything that we've done with our page, with our art, with our music. And yeah, man, I'm just super grateful. Your guys' comments keep bringing me back to this channel, especially from the mixing and mastering video that we posted like 3 years ago, which, by the way, it's almost at 100,000 plays, which I really appreciate every single one of you guys for watching. And I appreciate you specifically just for being here, listening to me ramble on about some other music content production strategy. So without further ado, let's get into the bread and butter of this video, which is building your brand without spending a lot of money. That's kind of a big topic that I've been thinking about a lot for myself, especially coming into this new year. Like I said, gas ain't cheap, food ain't cheap. God damn, I mean, toilet paper isn't cheap, man. And we still want to figure out a way to build our brand, get exposure, build a community around our music. And it's hard, right? Without a lot of capital, without a lot of financial backing, it's a little bit tough. But today, I think that I might have found something that can put you towards a direction. It's not a cure-all, end-all, be-all of getting famous and big and generating thousands of dollars and millions of streams, but it's a start. So with that being said, today I'd really like to talk to you guys about lo-fi music. And wait, before you click off, I know, a little controversial with lo-fi. It's kind of interesting, right? Because we see lo-fi obviously being a genre of its own. It's very beautiful. It's very low fidelity, hence the name lo-fi. It's very underground, grassroots, right? It stems from hip hop. It stems from samplers, and we all have little pocket operators and other devices and pieces of gear that can help us sort of produce in that genre range. But I wanted to talk to you about lo-fi as a business, and this is kind of an interesting mindset that I've been adopting lately, which is, what does the path of a producer look like? How do you prove your worth? How do you prove yourself in the... I mean, we all know that lo-fi is used for studying. People use it in their stores. People use it to get, you know, a little something, something, right? Like, lo-fi is present everywhere. Long drives. It's in all of your YouTube videos. I mean, lo-fi has just taken off as a utility tool. Creators all around the world, retail stores all around the world, listeners all around the world use lo-fi for different reasons. And this could be sort of an opportunity for you as an artist to break into someone's ears, because at the end of the day, we are always going to be benefiting if people are listening to our music, and it will give us a chance to show them who we are as artists. It'll give them a chance to potentially like, follow, save, subscribe, check out our other tracks. So the mindset, the strategy that I've been trying to adopt lately, and I'm going to be carrying it out throughout next year for sure in 2024, is spending a few hours a day, a few hours a week, making these lo-fi tracks. We have an outlet for lo-fi right now, and I think that it would be silly if we didn't take advantage of it. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. You know, when I think about what singer and songwriters can do, when I think about what bands can do to gain exposure, the path, it's been discovered. It's been there. It doesn't mean it's easier, but you have a bit of a strategy. What I'm thinking is that if I make a bunch of lo-fi tracks that are obviously well produced, that have a good representation of my style, and I trickle in a couple of the other elements that I like to put in, I use these playlists to submit to, or I potentially release them with labels who have that infrastructure already in place, you'll see numbers generating, right? And so at the very least, you won't be one of those artists on Spotify who have under 1,000 streams per song, right? We're at least generating some type of number on our track. And if we do this frequently enough, the biggest benefit, in my personal opinion, is that you can bang out a ton of these lo-fi tracks in a very short period of time, plan out a release for every single month of the year. If you could just make 12 lo-fi tracks, which by any regard should be quite doable, depending on where your level is, depending on where your skill set's at. And if you need help producing lo-fi tracks, if you need help producing in general, then definitely drop me a follow, because I'm going to be dropping a ton of gems over the year, over the time, just trying my best to help elevate music producers' experience of life, man, because this is absolutely crazy. And we are all learning how to navigate this new space every single flippin' day. So let's do it as a team. Generating those plays will give you, number one, authority, right? So it'll look like you're performing very well online. Number two, generating those plays will give you a little bit of financial backing. And like, look, Spotify is not going to pay your rent, okay? Unless you're getting about 1 million streams a month. And even then, that's about $5,000 US. take taxes away from that and a couple other things, and you're living, I think, pretty decently compared to, you know, the poverty line, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a financial advisor, so that's a little bit outside of my scope. But right now, my personal goal is to make $5,000 a month off of my music, not solely based off lo-fi, but lo-fi is the starting ground. And I'd love to show you a bit of a chart that I'm working on to try my best to get an understanding of where the numbers really are, because it's not easy to just hold all of this in your head. So let's take a quick peek over here at this Excel sheet that I made. Keep in mind, these numbers are not real. I'm just testing, but I've put a few songs that I've put out on this sheet here with a couple of different columns to really outline what efforts I've put towards them, right? The things that are going to really keep track, the things that are going to be important for this are going to be the track title. If you've submitted it to any of the playlists that are on Spotify, did you have to pay? And is this a label release? So do they take a cut or not? Now, it almost seems like releasing with a label is not necessary, because at the end of the day, these labels are just utilizing playlists to generate plays anyways. They're not putting ads directly to your account or ads directly to your track. They're putting ads directly to a Spotify playlist, or even they are putting your tracks on other people's playlists that they might have had some predisposition deal. I don't know what those talks look like at the top level, but the gist of it is playlists run this entire game, numbers run this entire game. And if you can find the right playlist to put your music into, even if it's paid, and I'm talking like $5, right? And your music has to be good to be accepted too, right? Don't ever engage in a playlist that guarantees you a spot for some type of money. Now listen, some of you might be thinking this is kind of along the lines of what people might call selling out. And to be quite honest with you, I get that. I can completely see where that conclusion could come from. But if you're in a position where you don't need to grow your artist page in a way that it is tangible and it recirculates finances back into your pocket, then don't do something like this. If you have the ability to hold out and put money towards the tracks, your passion projects, then do that. But this is definitely a little bit more of an approach on working your way up from the ground, right? It's almost like the artist who ends up playing venues or cafes that are absolutely empty to make $5 or to just get free coffee or a free drink or a free beer. This is how we're going to approach it as producers, because remember, there are no venues that are just going to let you open mic with your SP404, although there's a couple of really cool collectives. Big shout out to Echo World. Big shout out to Loop Session Vancouver. I mean, there's a couple of people that are really out there trying to push that narrative, but it's definitely not as established as other genres, nor is it as established for the listeners, right? Who are you going to get to come in and listen to an SP404 set in downtown Vancouver or downtown LA? And you know, there's just such a small subset of this culture that we still have some work to do. We have some culture to grow here, and we're all at the forefront of that at any point throughout this journey. What I'm really trying to talk about is pure numbers. So here's what I've found so far. I have a track that came out. It's called Rome. I released it 2 weeks ago. We're at almost 4,000 plays, and we've only been in 3 major playlists that have over 47,000 likes. Now, these are real engaged listeners. You really need to do your due diligence in studying which playlists you want to put, number one, your music into, because having a botted playlist could potentially ruin or shadow ban or something along the lines of that on Spotify. So teeter with this information very carefully and take everything I say with a grain of salt. Please, 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 and thank you. But this is the strategy and the testing that I'll be doing. So by that logic, if I'm getting 4,000 streams every 2 weeks, that equates to about 8,000 streams every single month, which is $32 a month for this track. It costed me 13 Canadian dollars. That's 13 Canadian dollars to get onto these playlists or to get the submission viewed on the playlists. $32 for 8,000 plays. That already pays off about double what I paid in promotion. So technically I would be at 100% profit from what I originally spent, which is really, really great. And now look, these numbers, they're really not anything, right? I mean, look at it. $32 for 8,000 plays. If you filled a venue with 8,000 people to come listen to your song, there would definitely be a lot more money involved. But that's not the point of this. The point of this strategy is that Rome took me an hour to make. That doesn't make it any less creative. Of course, I spent 10 years learning how to make a track like this in an hour. But if we've already developed the skills, we already have a massive bank of songs, we can quickly take those projects and tweak them to fit a bit more of a lo-fi style and start to generate income instead of having it sit in our hard drive. So, chill hop, lo-fi jams. Those are the two that I've been submitting to lately. I have one with a label release and another track that is an independent. With the independent one, I paid the exact same amount as I did with the label release to get onto these playlists. And I did that like yesterday. So I will be back to you guys with the numbers. But if this also generates 8,000 plays in a month and I end up getting a full $32, then what happens if this track generates 8,000 plays as well? And what happens if this track generates 8,000 plays as well? And if you guys have a very keen and attuned eye, you'll notice that this number over here continues to increase. And that's the biggest point of it, is that the name of this game is not getting one song to pop off. The name of this game is to get multiple songs to do okay. Now, here's really where I'm thinking we could start to benefit, is that we take this $114 profit and we recirculate this into Facebook marketing advertising. And so now instead of spending this on all of these submissions or labels, we're putting that money into a marketing agency that is funneling listeners specifically to our track. But in my opinion, the most annoying thing about these playlists, and probably the only annoying thing about these playlists, is that when you look at your Spotify, you're going to notice that you have a lot of plays, yes, but you won't have a lot of saves, nor will you have a good listener to play ratio. By that, I mean usually one listener equals one stream. You want to have about a 10% save ratio with at least, in my opinion, one listener listening to your track twice, 3 times, right? You want to guarantee long-term plays. And so phase 2 of this would really be to recirculate that $100 into either a marquee ad campaign, or in some cases, you'd be able to put it into a Facebook ad campaign that will push listeners to your music with encouragement to follow, to save, right? So now your other numbers are going up. And so I'm just going to show you a little bit on what Rome looks like as of right now. That way you can see all the live data. So Rome has 3,500 streams. It was released on November 21st. The current date is December 4th. So we're almost going on 14 days. The issue is that I'm very happy with 3,000, almost 4,000 plays in 2 weeks, but I'm not 100% happy with a 1 stream per listener. It's great that people added it 23 times to their playlist. And you know what? For what it's worth, the amount of saves that I got for it is a lot more than I expected. And it's also a lot more than I've seen, which really goes to show the efficacy of choosing the right playlist. Because if you have the right playlist curator that you're in talks with, that you're figuring out how to promote your music, and they're sometimes rejecting you and sometimes giving you opportunities, then they have active, engaged listeners that don't only use that playlist to enjoy for their own entertainment, but also to build their own personal curated likes or playlist folder, which means that these 116 people are intending to listen to it. Facebook ads are going to yield much better results for your saves, your playlist ads, and your streams per listener, as opposed to just your total streams. So there's a little bit of give and take here. And this multi-pronged approach, I think, is really going to help outline a quick and streamlined way for young, up and coming, even already established or at least already experienced music producers. But not only that, artists. I mean, listen, if you're a singer, songwriter, make a lo-fi track where you're singing over it. Genre blend. Get in with this community, because the beatmaker community is absolutely huge. We're all supportive. Everybody supports each other, and there's rarely any gatekeeping from what I've seen. With that being said, I wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, drop me a comment and let me know. Do you think that this is a strategy that you'd use? Do you have any comments or questions about what we're trying to do over here? And would you like to see an update video in the near future with more results about how I've implemented this strategy into my own music branding in 2024? But without further ado, I'm your banger delivery driver, Oki, and peace out.